Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. And welcome to another episode of the Balance is Real podcast. I am your host, Tim Unebu. And along with me is a special guest, none other than Madeleine Dangerfield. Maddy, how's it going today?
Pretty good. How's it going?
Good. I'm going to call you Maddy. That's what I call you.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's not Madison. I know you corrected me a long time before that. So
Yes.
it's Madeleine.
Yes, Madeleine.
Yeah, Madeleine Dangerfield. How are we doing today?
Pretty good, yeah. Just watched my brother have a basketball game and they won, so that was good.
Oh, who did they play?
They played Sahali.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. So Hallie, the 9 team, eh?
They're in, I don't know if it was their 9 or 10. Yeah, grade 9 team because it's a grade 9 tournament. So
Okay. And your brother plays for Brock Middle School,
Yeah,
so
he
shout out
does.
to Brock over there,
Yeah.
Coach Will Blair and Nick Sarai there. Awesome.
stuff.
Good. I'm so happy to have you on
Yeah.
here, right?
Honored.
Actually, I never had a female guest yet here on
Yeah.
the show. So honestly, I'm super happy to have you on there. Obviously, I wanted to have you first just because I've known you probably the longest.
Yeah, probably. I've been doing
Yeah.
stuff with you since like grade 6 or something.
Yeah,
so.
great. Yeah, about 5 years ago. So
Yeah.
around that grade 5 or grade 6 there. So I'm so excited to have you on this podcast. Just share your story, how you came to kind of basketball and where you started off with us, as well as just kind of heading into the spring season here. And very excited to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
Yeah. Well, let's dive right into it.
Yeah.
So, Maddy, the first place I met you here was actually here at KCS
Yeah.
as one of my students. I think back in maybe grade 6 or so,
Yeah,
I
I
believe.
believe so.
Right? That was for PE,
Yep.
right? And I think it was Mr. Osborne. I think you had him for PE class, and then I think it was a year after or so that you were in my PE class. Is that true?
Yeah, we always like combined classes with
Yes,
yours.
that's what
with
it
the grade
was.
8s,
Yeah.
and they'd obliterate us, but it was
course.
lots of fun. And then the next year you were my PE teacher.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple while. I know you moved on from my school. I'm really
Yeah.
sad about that. But we still stay in touch through
Yeah.
Northern Bounds. Tell me, when was the first time you kind of came in and did some of our camps? I know it was even kind of before Northern Bounds kind of started,
Yeah,
right?
it was like really when it was just a bunch of camps that you were doing with the younger kids. It was like me and like a bunch of boys basically. And it was like
Yeah.
right before COVID, I think we were doing camps and it was just like, yeah, some of them were like multi-sports camps. And then
Yes.
my favorite ones were just the basketball ones. And I always wanted to play up with the older kids, but I was like still a little young to be playing with them. So
Yeah.
I was with like all the younger boys and stuff, but it was lots of fun.
That's true, right? And the thing, your brother was in a couple of those camps too as well, right?
we were in them together because he's only a year younger. So
Yeah. But, that's kind of how you always been. You always, number one, always want to challenge yourself. You always want to
course.
play with the best, and you don't care. You just want to be
Yeah.
competitive.
Yeah.
Is that something? Where do you get your competitive nature from, Maddy?
honestly, I don't know. I think it's probably from growing up with having 3 siblings. We were always like competing who was the best at sports. And I'm third out of 4 of us. So I had younger siblings that I was like, if they're doing something, I have to do it but better.
Yeah.
And I have to be better than them and I have to keep up with them because my older brother's like 3 years older than me. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. And I also have a Dangerfield power rankings. I remember
Yes,
that, right?
of course. Always number 1.
Yeah, no, actually, you're second next to Bridget now.
Oh, she's number 1.
You know, Bridget came,
That's
she played
crazy.
soccer for me in that grade
That's
12
true.
year. She
That's
wrote this big,
true.
huge paragraph after she graduated. Made me feel so happy. She's like, thank you for forcing me to play sports or something like that. But yeah, so you're number 2 in there in the Dangerfield.
I'll
Bridget's
move up.
number 1.
Don't even worry. I'll move up.
There you go. I can't just let you get to that number 1 spot. I got to work for it.
Gotta work for
so
it.
you're number 2 in the siblings out of the
Gotcha,
4.
gotcha.
Kieran's down on number 4 probably.
Probably.
I get Nolan up there a little bit.
Yeah.
Higher than him. So we have some room to grow.
Yes.
So it's awesome. And your competitive nature, like I said, it didn't just start just in competitive basketball. It starts in PE class as well.
Yeah. I was always one like even if the girls were standing off in the corner not doing anything, I was like, okay, in dodgeball, I gotta beat all the boys and like get them out and like hit them with headshots and stuff to get them out. And I was always wanting to keep up with the best and not just like sit there and do nothing. So
And it's true, but you do it in a unique way. You do it in a unique way because you got to know you're so competitive,
yeah.
but yet you're so nice at the same time.
That's true. Cause like, I don't know. Yeah. I like have that competitive nature in me, but also I'm like checking up on other people and making sure they're not hurt or whatever, like upset, which like sometimes it like takes back on the competitiveness, but at the same time, like I worry more about other people than like about winning necessarily,
Yeah, and it's actually a very, how should I say, it's a very rare mix because, like I said, if I'm doing softball unit and I'm throwing overhand to some of the people, you make sure I throw overhand, even though I'm going to strike you out every time because I take no prisoners. Yeah. But you still want it. You don't even care if you don't hit the ball all semester. But by the end of the unit, you're hitting the baseball, and that's such great for your development. But also, like when I make the teams, if someone chooses you on and the teams aren't fair, you ain't complaining about that. Oh, it was an unfair team. Yeah. You just go out and do it. I know the competitiveness in you. Yeah. It itches to come out. Yeah. But yeah, you're still able to control it in a PE class.
Yeah. Not like raging and chirping at people in PE.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, like I said, but as the same comes on to even the basketball court, like especially when we're training and stuff like that, you're always encouraging somebody that's not getting it fully. You're always the first person, like you said, to check up on them. But also you go out and you want to make sure you compete and get your development going on this. So talk to me about just kind of being able to balance that competitiveness, but also being able to be a great teammate.
Right. So my competitiveness, it's kind of like, it can take the forefront sometimes. And it's like in practices and stuff, I'm like, if we're doing a drill for competition, I'm going to win. Like I'm not going to take it easy on other people just because they're smaller and not as good as me, because then that's also not helping them get better. And so I kind of like, I go my hardest at all times and like try and win. But then like afterwards, that's really when, like, that's what you and Garvey have said. It's like you can be like best friends with somebody outside, but once you're on the court, it's like you're neck and neck, head and head, like chirping at each other and like trying to win. And then afterwards you can be like, oh, that was really good. Like what you did there. Or like that take was really awesome. Like the encouragement, like you kind of have to put it at the right times and like also competitiveness at the right times. So like obviously if I were to like actually hurt somebody, I'm not going to just walk away from that. I'm going to be like, okay, are you good? Like check up on them in the moment. But then if I'm like, well, one time we were doing a drill where it's like, you're trying to beat your defender, kind of like channels, but you're allowed to beat them. Okay. And I like beat someone, they were on the floor, and I looked back and I remember you yelling at me like, Maddy, go. Because I was like, oh no, they're on the floor. But it's just because I had beat them and they had fell, and it's not because they were hurt. And so like that's also a learning thing for me, like learning when to be competitive, but also to check up on people, make sure they're good. So
I love that. You know, and it's so true. Anytime someone falls, if they're not dead, bleeding, or if they're actually okay, then you go, right? And that's what it is. Because most of the time, like, I'm fine, right? And that's what we're talking, because what you do in practice is what you do in games. Yeah. So it's going to translate. If you go and all of a sudden someone falls for no apparent reason and you have a free layup there, and you're going to stop in the game if you're not understanding there's a time to check in on them, or there's a time to actually play basketball. And I think that's what it is. It's like basketball is a physical sport. You are going to fall. You are going to get hurt right away. Yeah. And it's okay to actually be competitive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, especially like when I'm playing other teams that aren't my teammates, I'm like a little less likely to check up on them in the moment. But like after the game, even last year after city finals, one of the girls, like I didn't injure her, but she got injured like when it was like she was guarding me. And after the game is when I went and checked up. I was like, hey, are you good? Like what happened? And so like you can have that sportsmanship in the game, but also after the game, like checking up on other players. And that's what I've found is really helpful for me, like not having to work, because like I'm the kind of person, like it hurts when I feel really bad. And so like just being able to like have my head in the game, and then afterwards like knowing it's like, okay, you can check on them after, like that's right.
Good. Well, let's talk about a little bit of your school team right now. I know right now I always say Brock because I'm always like, it's NorCam. No, I'm sorry. It's NorCam. I keep forgetting about the middle school, all that stuff. So you are on the NorCam junior team right now. You guys are, you guys are having a decent season. Yeah, we're
number one in our zone right now. We're hosting cities. So yeah, we just played SKSS and beat them. So that was like the final game. So we'll be hosting cities and going in number one for that. Honestly, this year though, our zone's like really balanced. I feel like
it is.
There's like all the games we play aren't necessarily like super big blowout games. Like I mean, like 20 points. Like so that's a pretty big difference. But like there's nowhere where someone's beating a team 50 to 5 or whatever. Yeah, and I'd say like that's really been helpful for us, because last year we were like definitely the top of our zone, like by a long shot for the teams. And so it's like really this year it's helping us all grow as a team and as players to just be able to you know, have that more competitiveness and those games where it's like, okay, we're down by 2. We have to pick it up and win this game, you know?
That's right. Good. And that's a great answer. Exactly. I know last year, like I said, you guys were just blowing out teams. And although it's a lot of fun, right? But at the same time, it's not, you're not improving if you're just beating teams by 60 or so, right? So that's a great thing. But also it goes to like kind of development of girls basketball here in Kamloops. Like that's what we're trying to grow. And like I said, we'll get into kind of what we do with Northern Bounce after. But how has, you know, just all that helped you guys this year? And individually, you've been playing pretty well. Every time I talk to you, is you got player of the game, or in the Fulton Cup, I remember getting an all-star and player of the game in those ones. And you're saying, hey, Tim, Garv, like, you know, it's been helping me out so much this year. Talk to me about just kind of individually your accomplishments and how you're feeling as a basketball player.
Yeah, so this year, like, having that more competitiveness has really helped me, like, become more confident as a player. Like you said, I mean, like, last year, I didn't get a single player of the game. Like, I was a starter, but I was, like, the worst of the starters. I was, like, just making some points a game. But then this year, I come in and I've worked hard with Northern Bounce of the spring and, like, the fall, and I come in and I'm just, like, I'm ahead of everybody else. I'm putting up, like, 15 points a game and, like, a bunch of rebounds and assists and steals, and I'm getting player of the game. I've had, like, 4 this season so far.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, confidence as a player. And also just, like, it makes me, the competitiveness is also there. It's like, okay, so we lost this team. We have to beat them this next time. And it's like, our team's really grown in the way of, like, we're beating other teams, but also getting beat by other teams. But we're competing with, like, we played Vernon and only lost by 3, and they're number 5 in BC right now. And it's like, we're just, like, seeing this development, like, because from this grade 8 year, I wasn't with them in grade 8, but grade 8, they didn't win a single game. They were the team getting destroyed by every team. Yeah. And now we're here and we're winning. And it's just, like, a lot of us played Northern Bounce this past spring, and you can just really see the, like, difference in the players who did and who didn't. Like, we're just ahead of everybody else, whether that's endurance or skills or just, like, game sense in general. So
no, I do. I love it. And it's kind of like in competitive. You guys are great. You guys are a team. You guys like each other, but everyone is competitive on that team, right? And I think it's only going to grow more. I think a lot of you guys enjoy hoops.
Oh, 100%.
You guys enjoy hoops, and you guys cannot get ready. You guys cannot wait to keep playing. And that's what I've seen. And I know we're going to talk about the fall sessions, but I've seen it a lot there. And I always say, I always want to make sure how I coach is how I coach.
Right.
And you're ready for me when I coach. Yeah. Because I remember in PE class, I always look for you to leadership. Yeah. If something went wrong, I say, Maddy, hey, let's go. Hey, can you get this? I'll be doing it. You don't care if I act myself, because people think I'm this scary person, but you're not afraid of me at all. All right.
And it's like, well, like, coaches who, like, really get down on you and they're like, come on, you can do better than this. That's the only kind of coaches who are going to make you better. Coaches who are too nice and, like, are afraid to hurt people's feelings, just, like, the team can't grow, or, like, the individual can't grow without some of that hard coaching sometimes, even if it means running lines till you throw up.
You
like,
betcha.
That's just how you get better. And you have to, like, embrace that to get better.
It's true. And honestly, and that's why, like I said, this fall session with the girls, I absolutely loved it.
It was so good.
Right? Yeah. And I talked to you guys before. I'm like, hey, guys, this is kind of how I coach. I'm going to be a little bit tough. But after practice, we joke around so much.
Yes, we do.
We joke around a lot. We joke around when it's proper and when it's the right time. But I said, I am going to work you guys exactly, because there's no difference between girls basketball and boys basketball. And you guys want to be coached like them. I remember you coming, and many of you guys come to me and say, why aren't you coaching the way you coach the guys, Tim? And I remember, I usually do, but I was always, you know, in today's society, always got to be worried about girls, right? And I said, as soon as I said it, I said, done. Okay. Get on the line. Give me 25 right now then. No, and you guys are ready to go, and you guys did it with a smile, and I could see the improvements and stuff. And I already know now it's like, hey, there's no different coaching styles. I'm going to let you guys know exactly if you're not doing something correctly. And I'm going to tell you guys when you guys are doing stuff correctly, right? Exactly. And I'm not afraid by that. So I appreciate you guys saying that. And sometimes you got to check yourself, but those who want to be coach. And that's kind of what it is, Northern Bounce. It's a private, but not private club. Anyone can join, but it's private in the sense if you do not like being worked hard, you don't have to come.
Exactly. And that's what I really enjoy about the community of Northern Bounce. Is like the people are there because they want to be there. They want to get better. They're not just there because they're like on the school team. They don't try. Like they're there for a reason, because you're paying money to be there. You're not just going to not do anything. And like, I found that just helps, the community and the bonds between the players, knowing like, okay, these people love the sport and are going to work hard too. Because that's something like I find loss of the love for the sport is sometimes from your teammates. They're not trying, or like I'm talking to people and they're like, yeah, my team's just like not trying. They lost and they don't care. And what I notice with like the Northern Bounds girls is we lose and we do care and we just want to get so much better and play better so that the next time we play that team or the next game we play, we're going to win. Yeah.
That's a great mentality to have. And even going forward to the spring season, I can't wait.
Yes,
and I know
so
Coach Garvin and I will be in the gym with you girls, and like I said, we're really, really trying to get it this year where we're getting better, improving our effort, and also just being healthy and improving our bodies and making sure that when we go out and play and getting ready for your senior year, you guys are the top girls.
Yeah.
Not even just in town, but in that group trying to compete for a provincial title.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. You guys, like I said, you guys played Vernon and you guys beat the number 5 team.
We were close to it. It was a close game.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I said you guys hung in there with those girls. And honestly, just having those games, knowing you guys are not far off.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So that's something definitely. Now we're going to talk about kind of just the connections you talked about making with some of the girls from other teams.
Yeah.
Do you now go to different gyms and recognize some of the girls there? Do you guys chit chat before, after the games?
Yeah.
How do you enjoy competing against them?
Right. Yeah. So like some of the girls, like we played Merit in their tournament and we beat them, but Gwen was on that team and we see her and before and we're like talking, we're like, hey, we've seen you this season, like you're playing really well. Yeah. And then like we play against them and we beat them, but then afterwards it's just like, wow, that was a really good game. Like you're really playing well. And you just like have that where it's like you see someone, you know them, but you're not going to take it easy with them on the court. But then afterwards, like I said, like you have that connection and you can just really like grow that relationship. Or like on West Side, there's Ryan Scott and we see her like obviously at Bounce last year and then she's in the gym and like me and her caught up before one of the games and it was just good to like see her and then play against them. Like, you know, there's all those people that you see and you wouldn't necessarily know before. Like there's so many people that I'm like, oh, hey, like I know I played with you. Like it's so fun. Or even like younger kids. Like I see the younger girls that I played with last year. Like they're 13 and then they kind of look up to you in that way. And there's like kind of that mentorship and it's like, wow, that was a really good game. Like keep going. You got this. And like just the encouragement is really great.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It is community and just even having a chance to probably play with them in this spring and summer. Like that's exciting, right? And that's kind of what we want to do with the Northern Bounds here is, hey, during the spring and summertime, we're here together and we're going to be traveling. We got Calgary coming up and obviously Prince George we want to go to. And at the end of the year, if we can get to the Houston trip, that's the one I want to make sure that we're all right. It's so excited to. And so you get to play with, you know, arguably the best girls around here in town, right?
Exactly. So, and like, that's the thing is like the strength and like skills spread out over Kamloops during school season, but then it all comes together. Like we all come here and we play together and it's like a really good team we have going. Yeah. Like with like Fair and she joined us in the fall and stuff. And like, she's an insane player. Like,
she is very good.
I really look up to her in her playing and I'm just like, well, she comes and plays in our spring and we have like Ryan and Gwen and like all these people. I'm like, we could have like a really elite team playing
Shout
together.
out to Megan and Julia.
Megan and Julia.
Too,
like exactly, we could have quite the team going if everyone comes back in the spring. Like that's just excites me, like seeing where we can go with this. And like, because last year also like my brother and like they went to Spokane and stuff. And I was like, where's our trip? Right. Where are we going? Because like I understand like we had a smaller team last year, so we couldn't go. But like this year I'm really hoping like we can get to go to those big places and really grow as a team together. So
no, that's true. And even last year, because Gwen's brother played, Gwen got to go to Spokane and play on the guys team. Yeah. And she was killing it. Right. And I think I talked to her not too long ago and, you know, she said that helped out. Like she got to play with some of the guys her own age and she was doing really, really well. So I think that goes to attest to her competitiveness as well.
Exactly.
So now we're going to talk about, tell me where, maybe even last year or whatever, you started saying, okay, I can actually be okay at the sport. Because I remember, like, we would just be doing them basic drills. Here, a little crossover, through the legs, behind the back. And you'd be happy just to get the combo once, right? You'd be so happy. Like, the improvements or the rebound or your shooting. You'd be, oh, my God. I can't believe it. You'd be going crazy, right? And you see it. When did you, or what was the moment or the tournament, even last year, I remember in Prince George, you getting more hoops or you getting more touches on the ball, and where did the confidence and say, hey, I can actually be okay at this sport? Where did you see that?
Well, I really noticed like a lot of development, not this past fall, but the like last year in the fall. It was like the first like northern bounce, like with the girls only that I was training. And I started feeling like really a big passion for the sport. Like I'd always loved basketball. I'd grown up playing it with like my siblings and my family and whatever. But then there was like, wow, I'm actually like a player. Like I can play.
Yeah.
And so I go into my school season. I get starting line, which was like a big change. And not that I wasn't before, but it was just like, this is an actual team. We have plays.
Yeah.
Because like before our team wasn't too great at KCS.
Yeah. And we're improving. We're getting there. We're getting there.
But like when I was there, it was basically give Madeleine the ball. She goes and drives the hoop. And I wasn't finishing anything anyways.
Yeah,
but it was just like.
Hitting that backboard.
Yeah. Nailing off the backboard. Still do that sometimes.
Yeah.
But like, it was just, I go into school season and the confidence starts growing. You can kind of feel it building. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do spring with Northern Bounce. Like this will be so cool. And I do. And I think it was our first tournament. It was Calgary maybe. And I'm point guard. Never played point guard before because I'd always been taller on my team. But then I felt like the leadership. Yes. I was like, okay, this is a younger team because I was playing with like the U13. Well, it was like a U15, but it was like a bunch of age groups combined. And I was like, okay, so now I have this leadership on the court and I'm actually finishing. Like I can compete with these girls and I'm shooting and hitting threes. And I was like, okay, where did this come from? And I think back and it's like, it's all from the hard work you put in. Yeah. And so it was really that spring season, I'd say last year. It was like, I just felt this confidence and like this new sense of like love for the sport where I was like able to, even if we weren't winning our games necessarily, I could just like feel that I was getting so much better. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, obviously I'm doing fall again because like that's where I really felt a lot of development because it's just like no games. You're just training. And I go in and I'm like, okay, now I'm playing with the older girls because I'm up on the U18 side. And the competitiveness is there again because I'm not the top anymore. I'm playing with girls way better than me and I get to see that. And so that just gave more competitiveness for me and like drive to do so much better. I started just like playing harder and harder and wanting to win those drills. And I started winning those drills and the confidence just builds. So going into like this fall, not this fall, but the school season this year, I just noticed such like a big difference between people who played club and who didn't. Yeah, that's true. I noticed, cause fall, it was when you and Garvey started coaching us for the first time, like actually. And we were running a lot, but then I go into, and I'd hate it in the moment. I'd be like, oh, not running again. Like, come on.
Get in line. Get in line. That's right.
Yeah. But then I go into school season. I'm like, I can play almost a whole game. Yeah. And like, obviously I'm exhausted, but I can play. I can do it. And I'm still like playing well. And that's what I've really noticed has put me ahead in going into from club. So
I love it. And that's one of my sayings I always say is, we're not playing for the first quarter. We're not playing for the second quarter. Yeah. We're playing for the fourth quarter when it's a close game. Are you in shape for then?
Exactly.
And that's what I say. Can you play a whole game with your body still be okay in that fourth quarter? Yeah. That's the reason why we run. Exactly. Anyone can go out there without cardio and play one quarter, 5 to 6 minutes of the game. But can you do that for the whole time and be ready for the fourth quarter when your name is called?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I found. Like, obviously I come off like for a couple minutes at a time, he'll take me off, but he'll keep me at the top of the bench. He's like, okay, have some water. Tell me when you're ready to go back on. And I'm just like, it's an honor to be able to, be one of the better players who gets to do that. But also just like, it fuels that love and that excitement because I'm like, okay, so this hard work I am putting in is actually paying off and I'm actually able to play. So it's really good. Yeah.
That was good. So now going forward here in the spring here and summer, what are you most looking forward to? I know, maybe it's something you need to work on. Maybe it's a trip you want to go on. What are you most looking forward to in this spring/summer?
Let's see. I'd say, getting out of Canada for some tournaments because like we haven't done that yet. And I'm just like, I was hoping we could do it last year, but we couldn't, which is fine. But also playing up with the U18 girls. Like I'm excited to be playing with better players and like, maybe even starting to win stuff this year. Like I think we got this. I think this spring will be our season. Yeah. And something I need to work on is definitely my shooting. Yeah. Because like I'm really good down in the paint. I can finish. I have post moves like step throughs and whatnot. Yeah. And I'm really good on the free throw line too. Like I'm hitting a lot of my shots because I'm getting fouled so much. Yeah. But then I'm like beyond the free throw, I'm like, okay, I have hit threes in the game this season. So it's not like I can't. Yeah. But it's just like not consistent enough like for what I want to be because I want to be such like a well-rounded player. Because if I'm going beyond high school, you have to strong defense, good in the paint, but also being able to shoot off the pass, off the dribble, whatever it is, accurately and high enough percentage that like, you know, you gotta. So that's something I'm hoping to work on. Even whether it's in like spring practices or like one-on-one sessions, whatever it is. So.
Yeah, good. I love that answer. Good. And I know before we prepared, you said, I gotta have my talking notes, and I said, "Of course, you always
gotta be prepared.
You always gotta be prepared for it." I said, "No, it's not how. It's not what we do on here. We come in there, we freestyle, and we just chit chat. I love it." But yeah, talking notes. What was something that you had in your talking notes? I'm just curious.
Let's see. I'll pull it out. Okay.
Let me see. Of course, you have your talking notes.
I already talked on one of them, which is like endurance from fall, putting me ahead.
Yeah.
I actually talked about most of them. Yeah. We didn't talk about where I started. We kind of did.
I did. Well, you had it wrong because you tried to say you started like a year ago.
Because
I'm like, no, I've had you since grade 5 or 6.
You've had me since like 5 or 6, but
because that was before Northern Bounce, but
the
still.
first games I played with Northern Bounce was a random tournament. You asked me in PE class, you're like, "Hey, Maddy, we're missing some players.
Where was it? Where was that?
It was here. It was a home tournament. It was like I don't even remember the girls I was playing
in the summertime.
It was around in the summer, and you're just like, "Hey, Maddy, we're down players. Come play for my team." And it was really funny because I had never seen these girls, never practiced with them, and then I just ended up like playing.
You know what? It wasn't even anything. It was during the boys tournament. They had a tournament at TCC, and then the Northern Bounce Prince George wanted to come have some games here.
That's
so
what
then
it was.
It was with Cassie and Emma.
Yeah.
And then you had Marley and Maya.
Yes, those girls, and like Summer or whatever.
Yeah, that's what it was. So we kind of just like, hey, they want to play. So girls, are you ready to play? So it wasn't just any. Okay, I remember now. Yes.
I was kind of just like grabbed and thrown into the team. It was really great, and honestly, like it just helped like be like, oh, so like some people do see me.
Yes.
And that's and then just about the community too, which I've talked about. It's just comfortable and friendly and happy, and everyone's like, there's not a bunch of drama going on. It's just like people come to play and then they play, and it's good.
You know, I think that's one thing that, knock on wood, exactly, because I've been here. There's no drama. Like on the road trip, there's no one. Everyone likes everybody.
Yeah.
And you know what? The same with the boys and the guys teams kind of together. They're honestly like a family. And that's kind of the things that I'd love to see. I've been to many of your guys' games so far. I've seen Valley View play. I've seen Sahali play. Who else have I seen
Westside, I think?
Westside I've seen play. I've seen many of the girls. I wish I had more time to come out to more of you guys' games. I've been a couple times for the first half or so, but I'm always so happy and so proud of just the development and how you guys do represent Northern Bounce.
Yeah.
And, you know, it goes beyond that just because you and I have known each other for such a long time. And honestly, I always appreciate you because I can just be myself and I can say, hey, I need this done or I need you to come play for us. And you're there. Yeah. Then you'll be here if you wanted to volunteer or even play. And I always appreciate that of you, Maddy. But also how, like you talked about, you kind of lead your leadership. And that's what we did that first time when you played point guard there. When you're playing with the younger girls, you didn't complain who you're playing with. Yeah. You went there, you learned a new position as a point guard, and which just helps kind of you in your development as a basketball player. Yeah,
it was good. And like, just like having the younger girls looking up to me and just like knowing that there are people who like see me playing just helps me like, no, I want to get better. And like, well, you told me that one of the coaches or something had like talked to you about me, which is like mind blowing. I'm like, wait, so there's people like outside, they see me playing and they're like, oh, that's one of your girls. Like you see her playing and she's doing so well. Like, look at that. Or even our home tournament, we played a team and then my coach asked the coach of the team we played to pick the player they thought was playing the best. And they chose me, and I was like, okay, so it's not just my coach like thinking that I'm a good player, because sometimes that's how it feels. Is like, okay, well, I'm a starter, so maybe. And I don't think I actually deserve this.
1 of 5 opportunity. One person has a bad game, so now you have 25%. Exactly. And all of a sudden you said, good job. Oh, she's cheering. Give her a player of the game.
Exactly. No. And so like seeing like other people recognizing the skill and kind of like how I'm doing is like, I don't know, it just makes me happy and like, see, maybe I can go somewhere with this, you know?
Definitely. And like you said, you're just in grade 10 here. You have 2 more years, but those years go by fast.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're sitting here, and what I love about this podcast is I can refer this back. So when you say you want to, not even 5 years from now, next year when you're like, are you putting in work? Are we working the right things? This is kind of the goal you want to have. Yeah. And that's a great attainable goal. but you got to be working.
Exactly. Every waking hour spent playing basketball.
Exactly.
Fall, school, spring, and in the summer, like I live close to McDonald Park, so we just me and my brother go and like 1v1, shoot around, stay in shape, like go to the gym, like stay ready all the time for the season, just ready to play all the time. So,
that's right. Yeah. And shout out Kieran, man.
Yeah,
Kieran,
little
man. He's improving. Like I said, he's getting a little bit more thicker with his pipe cleaner arms. But I told him
super tall though. He's like over 6 feet tall now. He's a.
I told him same thing. I told my player Evan Jamango. You got to have the peanut butter sandwich before bed.
He's been doing it. You told me to tell him he's been eating it.
That's what you do.
He's got to gain some weight there.
Gain that weight, man.
Yeah,
but,
he's a little guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's been playing well, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, he's having a good season too.
Good. Well, Maddy, before we take off here, I'm so happy we finally got you on the podcast.
So happy to be on here.
Right? And as no other, like you're well-spoken, you're prepared, and honestly, it's awesome. I'm so happy to have you part of Northern Bounce, and I cannot wait to see what the spring and summer holds for us and just even your future in basketball.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on here.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
See ya.
Right? Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That's a wrap on another episode of the Bounce is Real podcast. Make sure you go to the website and head to the ID camp, which will be happening first week of March. Players U14 to 18, both boys and girls.